Inkee Falcon Gimbal, firmware version 9.7, Deadzone, roll axis only. I suggest please don't fool around with this because you only got 3.0, 2.0. No matter what I do to adjust this, there is no 0.50. Maybe firmware 100 will correct it. Let's back out of it. You can calibrate, do anything you want. It's not going to correct the issue. There is no default settings on the app unless I am missing it. If you go to the Inkee gimbal and you long press, nothing's going to happen. It's looking for Bluetooth. If I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and want to default it that way, I can. If I go into my settings, to my Inkee, and forget device, I'm off of Wi-Fi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't have to set Wi-Fi up this particular way. It's pairing, it's connected. We're going into the application. It's already connected. And we'll go to the Deadzone. And finally, the Deadzone are defaulted. So please, it's very difficult to get Deadzone to reset. And that's the only way you can correctly reset this. Now the gimbal is back up in running order. And let's continue on. Welcome, Inkee Falcon app and the gimbal. What we're going to do is do a excellent, thorough walkthrough. It's not going to be a minute long. I'll do my best to put chapters so you can go to a particular part that you're interested in. Let's get started. In other devices, it's automatically in here. If you already delete it off, it's always going to be in there what's nearby. Doesn't mean it's in the on position. I can choose Inkee on there, or I could turn the gimbal on. It's going to go into the green when I simply just go to the Inkee Falcon gimbal and connect by hitting the Inkee 061A153. It automatically turns on the pairing. It will show completed and a check mark. We are now communicating between the app and the gimbal. Hit complete to finish. We are connected. Now, let's go into the next one. Going over just the names here. Bluetooth name cannot be changed or renamed. Maybe in future firmware. We are running firmware 97. We have working mode, motor response, joystick, joystick direction, calibration, control, Deadzone, and firmware upgrade. That is just what you have on this screen. Let's go look at the working mode. In the working mode, you have 6 different names, different modes. You can run any of these modes through the application. Let's choose FPV. FPV is shown. If you shut the gimbal down through the application and disconnect, there's no way to disconnect but to basically shut the app down. You will be on FPV, but when you shut the gimbal down, it is not a default save. We should be back on PF. And we open up, and we have to reconnect, or it connects automatically. Let's look at the motor response. The motor response can mean, for the base cam, the power to the motor. Slow, medium, fast, it could be conserving power. Slow would conserve, fast would use a lot of power, giving it more strength to the motor, meaning fast. If I choose fast and I go like so to the motor, I don't see any difference between fast and slow. That is my understanding of motor response. I leave it on middle. Joystick speed. Let's look at joystick speed. If I go down or up, left or right, that is the middle. If I go slow, you're going to see the slowness. And that is excellent for slow panning stuff. We leave it on middle so we could do just all the average things. But if you're doing fast sports, you want fast action, that is fast. It's a little faster than middle, but not much. And double tap to set the back. I leave it on middle. Let's look at joystick direction. You go up, it goes up. You go down, it goes down. Left, left, right, right. If you reverse it, now down goes up goes, and so forth. It all depends what you want. I'm going to leave it right now on forward. And that will save when you shut down everything. Calibration. You have static, horizontal, and advanced. If my gimbal's like so, and I click on static to start the calibration, it's completed within a couple of seconds. This just basically clears all the glitches out of the unit. You can click on completion. You can click on back if you like. You need to re-wake the gimbal by hitting any of the buttons, and the gimbal will go back to the way it was, exactly the way you left it. I left it on an angle, that's where it stayed. Double press, it'll go back to the norm. Horizontal. This was set to 0.0000. I said 0.00, and you could adjust it by single digits. And now we are back 100%. We are centered. Advance. I'm not going to go through all 6 settings. It is very difficult, but I will in another video to show you how to set this up. You take your gimbal in the on stage. You hold it down. You then going to turn it to the sky and hold it this way. And then you're going to hold it this way. 6 different moves. There is no beeping or anything. A beeping would confirm that you got it in the correct mode. It is not difficult to do, but it is time consuming and you have to get it precisely right. Once you do the advanced, I suggest go back to the static and do another set. In control, you have PV, HL, GL, FPV, FL, and V. You may check the manual for all these modes. On the gimbal alone, you only got 3 modes to go through: PF, HL, FPV, and back to PF. In order to get to FL vertical, you double-click the menu, the mode button, 1, 2. And you got to do it quickly. But it only works when you do it this particular way. And then you get FL. And if you do it correctly, you can now get into the actual 360-degree, you know what. That's it, whatever they call that. How to get out of it, single press, and then just continue to press wherever you left off at. If you press FL here, it will do it, but it won't do that thing. This would probably be a little different. And then you can get back here like so. If my camera was on, I have camera, video, time-lapse. I could adjust anything I want by moving. You hit the OK, it will record. This should change to a red. It does not. It'll stay the same color. And be green. That would be awesome to correct things. If I hit the double recycle, it sent this back to where it was at. In this video that I'm putting up, Deadzone, please be careful, because now I'm set back to 2.0, 2.50, 2.50. Your actual settings should be all zeros. Did you just take note how slow the gimbal was going back to the norm? So calibration and horizontal, everything is back to the norm of the camera. In here, there is no default of setting things back. Once you play with it, it will stay that way. You may have to reset everything, delete everything. It may or may not clear. So that's why I go back to this particular area and I look. The last thing we do will be firmware update. Let's check for an update. Get the latest version V100. This does not tell you what the firmware, but there is a question mark. If the gimbal do not work properly after upgrading, shut down the gimbal, long press the power button for 8 seconds. When starting up the gimbal, wait for the LEDs to turn from constant brightness to flicker, and then reconnect the Bluetooth to upgrade. If the gimbal still cannot work normally, please contact customer service. So that is saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. And I don't see any constant brightness, but I've seen the thing just go on there. That may be a hard reset by holding longer than 8 seconds. So if I do that and go back to the Deadzone, everything is basically there. I have walked through the whole application without the firmware update, and that will be for another video. And this shows you everything on app version 1.4.1 with firmware version 97. Post down below if you got any questions, any issues with your Inkee app, and maybe Inkee themselves. You know, they could come here and make a comment. Thank you very much for your time and viewing.